everyone? It's your girl Miranda, also known as Uprooted Foodie, and this is Kyle.
Hey.
Would you like a soda?
Oh my gosh, yes.
We got a 4-pack of soda when we were in Idaho, and I have strawberry rhubarb and Kyle has orange cream. Today we're doing a Q&A, and let's just jump into it.
Let's A some Q's.
Here you go.
Thank you so much, barkeep.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's so good. I love like a nice natural soda.
It's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Old-fashioned soda. We just thought it would be a fun way to support the ghost town that we saw. But yeah, no alcohol, even though it looks like a bottle of beer. So, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. You will know, if you do follow me there, that we just recently embarked on a huge trip around the Old West. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a life event for sure.
Yeah, it was in the books. A good one in the books. That was one for the books. So that was it. That was our huge Old West trip, as I'm calling it. So that being said, this is the Q&A before I release all of the footage for each of those adventures. As we were traveling, I did have a couple of questions from people, and I thought, why not just answer a Q&A? We're gonna go ahead and answer just some general questions as well and cover certain topics. So let's jump into it.
Let's get comfy.
This was my dad's shirt, by the way, and my sister surprised me and made it into a pillow. I love it so much. I'm gonna snuggle with it while we do this. Now I want pizza.
Ooh, you said it.
How did this like come about? What made us decide this? And I think we have to touch on COVID. We're still in it. It's very controversial as to whether or not people should or should not travel right now.
The other like travel that we've done since the pandemic was to visit family, which is inherently a social trip, which is more difficult and involves more risk, I feel like. And if you're traveling with the intention of getting away from people, you can do that a lot safer. And there is BLM land and Forest Service land and national parks out there that you can do that safely, even at Glacier and Yellowstone.
I'm not sure when my Ocean City vlogs will be released, but there may be some verbiage in there that I use about don't travel, don't do that. If you are thinking about traveling, don't. And I have changed my opinion on that. I personally think you could travel to some outdoor places because the experiences have shaped how I feel. You cannot trust other people. So when it came time to realize like, oh my God, I have serious cabin fever, we need a trip, months ago, at the beginning of COVID, we got on Target.com and we looked for cheap camp gear. We had to get a tent, sleeping pads, and sleeping bags. And that was like the extent we went to. We also got a life straw.
Invest in an emergency kit. Make sure that you pack your first aid kit and some other stuff, some changes of clothes, like have everything that you need in case of emergencies and don't skimp out on that. Like that's a very like key investment. Know what climate you're gonna be camping in and prepare for that for sure.
Kyle was also really keen to get a cast iron. That was really a good investment. We recommend the brand Lodge, and I'll link them below. We had to dig through our storage to find our headlamps. Those are a must. Also bought tubs for our food and storage organization,
which helped so much. We also needed to buy a trowel.
A trowel, also known as a small shovel. We will get into all of the like how we used all of this later. But that, I think for the most part, was it. We bought a small grill. We could have bought a Coleman flip up double burner, but they were all out when we went to look, which is no surprise. But we did find one remaining like tripod legs, short standing grill, which actually worked amazing. It came with its own lid that flipped to a wok. It's got a flat side plate and then a grill side plate on the other side. or you can just use the burner and use a regular pan or pot over it. So that's when we had the cast iron sometimes.
That was versatile. That worked pretty well.
Really well. I mean, I like a double burner, but if you're planning on doing some one pot meals, or if you're able to be patient, you can definitely make some great stuff with just like that single burner, because it was pretty big, also very fire safe.
It's a type of grill that you can use in accordance with most fire bans.
Yeah. As far as hauling everything around, clearly we were tent camping. We had my 4x4 F-150 truck, which sounds so weird to say, but my dad left me that truck and I love that. It was one of the reasons I was like, we can do a trip like this and not worry at all, which we've done trips like this in the past and it's been questionable. But it's a full cab, 4-door, so we knew we had storage in the back seats. Also a 4-wheel drive, majorly helpful. Before we left the actual apartment, there were some things we needed to figure out, like who's going to babysit our plants. We just decided to go ahead and leave them here. We set them in the bathroom. They're usually in the living room. Their names are Big Mama and Matilda. And we have 2 air plants, super small. What are their names again? It's like Fred and Ginger, or Frankie and Johnny, or Harry and Sally.
It might be Harry and Sally.
I think it was Harry and Sally. Okay, so we'll call them Harry and Sally. But point being, we put them in the bathtub, and I filled the bathtub with a little bit of water because I know that they can like leach humidity out of the air, and we were going to turn the air conditioning off, which we also did. So we were hoping that would sustain them. And we ran around and unplugged all the electronics in the apartment, the clocks, the appliances.
We unplugged everything except for the fridge.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I also packed up a small shampoo and a small conditioner. I didn't bring any scented stuff because we were going to be in nature the whole time. Even the deodorant I brought, I think, was like sage smelling. Oh, we also kind of cleaned out the fridge and the cupboards with what we already had. As far as like grocery shopping went, I don't think we got hardly anything. We took what we had. Let's talk about like returning home prep. Because that, to me, we're not even into the camping part yet, but let's talk about what I did and what you did for like returning home. We took one of our almond milks with us, and we always have 2 in the fridge during quarantine because like I never know if I'm gonna want to bake a bunch of stuff and I don't want to have to go to the store just for extra milk. So I always keep 2 almond milks in the fridge. So we took the one that was open and we left an unopened one, so that when we came back, we would have milk for cereal, or if we were gonna bake something, we just knew we had a fresh milk that was good to go.
We left a toothbrush. We left a change of clothes.
We're really extra. We have toothbrushes in both bathrooms anyway for both of us. Yeah. So we knew we had an extra toothbrush in here. If ours got gross or bad, which one of them did, and you'll see that eventually. I don't actually know if I filmed that. I had earwigs get into one of my toothbrush holders.
Oh, I forgot.
We were in Red Lodge, Montana, and actually Roberts. I was so naive. I was like, it's totally fine to just like leave out our toothbrushes and toothpaste, but earwigs. I woke up to brush my teeth one morning and there were earwigs nestled inside the toothbrush cover, like 4 of them. It was disgusting, and I bought new toothbrushes the next time we went to a store. Bull. Ew. Yeah, we didn't have extra clothes and towels here. Obviously, we have enough to have some extras. We also left a couple beers in the fridge just in case we were like exhausted and couldn't unpack when we got back and wanted to just like kick our feet up and have a beer.
It was nice to come in and just unwind.
Yeah, you don't have to unpack right away. That's the other thing. Like, I had to learn that, and and when we got home, I was like, I just want to relax. And the end of our trip was like kind of insane, so I'm glad we had all the comforts just kind of ready to grab and go. We didn't really have a lot of food, so we did have to keep making a couple trips down to find the food that we needed. Anyway, yeah. Have some things to look forward to having when you come home.
Yeah.
What is your camping experience?
So I've done some short backcountry camping trips. I've done a couple short primitive camping trips where I didn't bring anything, made my own shelter, found my own food and everything. So I've done certain things where I knew how to be out while camping, but it was all very minimal and it was a long time ago. I haven't necessarily retained all of the information. I felt like I had the basics down when we embarked. And I knew that I had a lot to learn, and I knew we were gonna learn it pretty quick. And that happened.
And like the difference between front country and back country is really front country correlates to car camping, back country correlates to hike in, is like the quickest, shortest, easiest way to explain that.
What was your camping experience before this?
So also had been a long time. You will hear me say several times throughout maybe this video, but definitely the vlogs, that I was in AmeriCorps. I was in Montana Conservation Corps. It was maybe I'll do a video about that sometime. I was a field crew leader my first year. We worked on trails. We cut down with chainsaws hazardous trees that would be in the way. There were a few times that we had to get packed into the backcountry, which means bring in our food boxes and our sleeping gear on pack animals. And of course I would never now, choose that, and I didn't choose it then. That was just part of the job I was doing, the volunteer work I was doing, part of the culture up there in the middle of nowhere, like the middle of the Bob Marshall Wilderness, like 7 miles in, 12 miles in, whatever. But long story short, I have front country experience and backcountry experience and off the grid experience where you hike in with everything you need to cook, eat, sleep on, etc. Go to the bathroom with and things like that. And then I have, your front country pit toilet experience and grill set up with picnic tables and shelters and, park rangers just down the road or something. I've got a range of experience with camping, all tent camping though, and have encountered animals in the past, but this was like 9 years ago. So part of this trip was also just like remembering that journey and like going to some of those places again in Montana and Idaho and Wyoming, but also just remembering how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, because my background was, when I was in Civil Air Patrol, camping was a byproduct. We were a search and rescue team, so we did search and rescue training, so we had to be prepared to survive in the wilderness. So all of my camping has been very survival oriented, and I don't really know how to be, so I didn't know how to be comfortable. I didn't have the comfort level down with camping.
This is all news to me.
Yeah, so I think what was
you didn't do it for enjoyment ever.
No, I never really. I was always,
you did it with pressure on you and
we were trying to find a fake dummy dead body out in the woods. So yeah. So
I shouldn't laugh. I'm just saying
no,
wow, that's so extreme and absurd to me.
I guess I forgot I hadn't really told you that.
Yeah.
But, sorry. But so it was really nice and fun to explore how to be comfortable out in the wilderness and make it a more enjoyable experience. It was really cool to do this for that reason.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that'll be a different mindset for sure. And for me, it's always look at the trail, how's this trail built? I'm just a very keen observer when I go hiking and camping. And it is meant for drainage purposes. Good steps, good steps. Keep your hands out of your pockets so that you can catch yourself if you fall. It had been so long since I had camped at all that I knew I would have some anxiety and perfectionism tendencies, a little bit of OCD around we should do things this way, we should do it this way, this is the most efficient way to do it, it's the only way to do it. But I think I let a lot of that go and we ended up doing our own thing while still heavily following Leave No Trace.
I think we got into the right mindset and got into some good practices for this trip about the third or fourth day.
Yeah.
It happened pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a transition of the mindset that you keep at house versus things are going to have to slow down when
Yeah.
you're camping.
Which is ironic because like quarantine has already slowed things down so much, but going out camping slowed it down even more and slowed down my mind. I noticed after about a week, I was like, man, I'm like thinking about things that I have tried to not think about without realizing it. It's good to get to know that part of myself again and to just like let all those layers kind of fall away once you get back into this connection and grounding with nature. But that's our experience. I'd like to call myself an expert, but it had been a long time. That doesn't mean that I forgot about any of it or how to do it. There's more than one way to do things, is what I guess I would say. Shall we talk food? We made a meal prep list and we just kind of used it as a guide for examples of what we could make. We had gone out and set out with intention to not really eat out. We wanted to cook for ourselves more. We wanted to utilize all of the resources that we had without spending money on food. We went out there. The first night of cooking was crazy. We had some black bean burgers. I think they were Gardein, Chipotle lime, and they were frozen, but we threw them in the cooler anyway. But by the time we got up to Wyoming, they were like kind of mushy, but we ate them. I threw them on the grill for a quick dinner. And we had some leftover like pretzel buns. It was kind of gourmet. But we brought like way too many condiments. And so like we always had good condiments out there.
Yeah.
We had a lot of bagel sandwiches for breakfast for like the first week.
Yeah, that was
It
nice.
was delicious.
We had some just egg patties
Oh yeah.
that we had brought.
Yeah.
Those were great. They lasted the first couple days. We made some veggie bacon with some like follow your heart cheese or diet cheese slices or something.
And when I say like watch what you're bringing and putting in the cooler, fake or substitute meat items or animal product items like usually are pretty well preserved. So when I was on the trail like 9 years ago, we would always bring veggie bacon. We would always bring like tofu, tempeh. You can bring that stuff. You should still use it more quickly, but like you can bring that stuff and it will last a lot longer than the produce will. And then we would like prep our lunch right after we ate breakfast.
Lunch was usually like deli meat sandwiches with the tofurkey hickory smoked
And
slices.
that will last forever.
It'll survive anything. Those were great though.
So as far as questions about dining out go, we clearly did dine out a little bit. The answer is sometimes, but I also asked locals who knew the area on Instagram or used HappyCow.
I typically used HappyCow. I would also just Google vegan food because sometimes people will like leave a Google review for a restaurant and it'll have the word vegan, so that'll get tagged. So we found a couple things just through Google.
What's the most surprisingly vegan friendly place you've been, and what's the least? The most surprisingly vegan friendly place was Stanley Baking Company and Cafe in Stanley, Idaho. They were the nicest.
Like they had like a tofu Benedict. Like it was
Yeah.
good.
With a house-made beet patty and an almond cream.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And it was vegan. My body would know if it was not. And honestly, maybe Helena was one of the most surprising vegan places too. They have a new cafe called, what's it called? Oh, I tagged them on Instagram for something. Murray's.
Oh, that's right.
Murray's Cafe in Helena, Montana. Maybe the most surprising as well. And they had a sign out and there was a vegan special for every day of the week next to their omnivore special on the board.
Yeah.
They had vegan baked goods too, so like it was amazing. So you'll see that when you see the Helena vlog, and you'll see the Stanley experience just in pictures on here probably, because I didn't film anything about Stanley. The least vegan friendly place, I'm gonna say this, the name of this city. See if you say it with me. 1, 2.
Wait, hang on, let me think of where it is. Okay, go ahead.
1, 2, 3. Kalispell. Let's change the battery. Kalispell, Montana. The whole city was a little iffy about the vegan scene. That's where I utilized HappyCow, was Kalispell. So there was a sushi spot, pretty good.
They had vegan sushi labeled, but
you gotta be careful.
Not everything on the vegan sushi menu was vegan. Like, they thought vegan was just a trendy word for vegetarian.
No, no, it's a nightmare. But I ended up leaving the most HappyCow reviews I think I've ever left in Kalispell. Just because, like, we wanted to try places. Like, we kept going to places to try things. Just no luck. Work on yourself, Kalispell. You are a tourist destination. You should have vegan options. You are going to have vegans come through. You are. I promise you. If you want to work with me, my info's below.
Yeah, tons. Passion Flower Bakery. My favorite place that we ate, that was our last place that we ate before we headed out.
My favorite too. Vertical Diner.
Their back patio is covered in grapevines. Possibly snuck a grape.
He stole a grape.
I stole a grape. I'm very
sorry. I didn't even know.
Diner.
Zest is very popular. What else is in Salt Lake City to eat? Mark of the Bistro was supposed to be fucking awesome, so please go check them out. Let me know what you think of them. Their menu looks cool.
Proper Burger.
Proper Burger. Our #1 recommendation for Salt Lake City. Never swim in the Great Salt Lake. Never.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Please don't do it.
Oh.
Ah.
Itchy.
The gnat. Don't ever swim in the Great Salt Lake. We will make a video all about this.
That is a swarm of gnats. Not cute. Not cute.
Oh. Oh, that is nasty. Ugh.
We'll never do that again. I would never recommend it. I wish someone had told me, and I feel like even if someone did, I thought, well, I'll never go to Salt Lake City.
It's a porta potty.
It smells terrible. And I was like, oh my god, I could stay here and like eat for a week. It's so incredible here. There's such good food, nice people, cool culture. Normally I believe they would have a lot of film and theater culture happening, but COVID has stopped that for now. But ski season is also a big thing out there. I will return to Salt Lake City.
Such a cool city.
Very cool. Loved it. Very clean city, which was juxtaposed with the fucking Salt Lake. Horrible. But I'll never go back to the Salt Lake. That was the end of our trip. So
that was how it ended.
Can you imagine?
So we had a general outline of where we wanted to go and where we wanted to visit. I had found a few sites that were dispersed camping on freecampsites.net. That took us through a lot of Forest Service land and BLM land, and at that point, once you're in a national forest, if it has a fire ring, you can sleep there.
If you're not familiar with what BLM stands for, it's the Bureau of Land Management.
But Black Lives do matter, so also BLM.
Black Lives do matter. BLM, another BLM. Like, there's reviews on there. Is there a camp ring established? Are you near water? Is there running water? Is there a toilet?
Yeah, if you see signs for like a fishing access, which is like a jumping fish with a little like hook up in the corner, a lot of those have campsites available for them. The challenge with dispersed camping is that it's first come, first serve.
So make sure you get somewhere early enough to set up camp. Definitely get there a few hours before sunset so that you can see and look around and find where you're going to go to the bathroom if you need to do that, and find where you can park safely, and see if there's any natural animal habitat around you that you're disturbing, and see if there's a fire ring. Get your fire ready for the night if you know where you can pitch your tent. But like, get there early enough.
Yeah. Have a backup plan for sure.
That brings me to another question. I would not call what we did backcountry camping. I wouldn't necessarily call it front country. It is car camping, and it was most of the time off the grid.
We brought in all of our own water for dishes, food, everything. We were boondocking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this blend of like front and back country.
that was something that I didn't really have like a huge priority of, because part of it was just to capture with a camera off the grid. I knew I might not have access to Wi-Fi, and I told my family, we both told our families, hey, we're doing a huge trip, and hey, we may not have service for a few days at a time, so don't worry. More established campgrounds will offer Wi-Fi. Sometimes you'll have enough cell service, sometimes you won't. If you're something like a van lifer, like you'll probably have a Wii Boost or something like that.
Like a cell signal
My
booster.
Sky Rocket.
Yeah.
It might be another one. But yeah, it's a cell signal booster. So it brings you from like 1 bars to 3 bars, 1 bars to 4 bars. So that you can at least use your cell phone if you need to in a place that's a little more off the grid. So I did work on the days when we were traveling on either major highways that would give me cell data, or when we were gonna go to a hotel, or if we were gonna eat lunch somewhere, we'd stay in the parking lot for a few extra minutes or hours and like use their free Wi-Fi.
For us, that was the type of thing where it was like, we'll utilize it when we have it. If we were actually working remote or something while we were doing this, I think you would have to make a point to go places to get some Wi-Fi, whether that was established campgrounds or a cafe in town or something, or get a cell signal booster.
If it were me, I would get a hotspot. I would get a personal hotspot just for hotspot's sake, not attached to my phone plan or anything. I would use that for Wi-Fi. But my whole plan was take time off of my work, go have fun and explore and create content. I mean, it was still work in a sense that I'm creating content, but it was not for anyone else like freelancing work. I didn't have deadlines for anything, so it was very chill. We
were definitely not within cell signal range though for certain places, so we were using a map and an atlas to get everywhere, which was really fun.
Good
and
call.
led us down a couple wrong turns.
It did. Well, and the important thing about having a map is you should still know the names of the roads that you're going to turn onto. We were out for 3 weeks.
22 days.
22 days, just over 3 weeks. I was like hopeful we could go a month, but we have a friend coming to visit, and like he's gonna go camping with this friend to be socially distant.
Back out to it.
Back out to it. And I think we just felt when it was time to come home. The smoke in Idaho, I think, was the signal. That it was like, oh, it's not safe to be out here camping right now.
There is always something on top of the thing that you need. Every single time I needed something, I'm always lifting something else up to get to it.
He means like in the truck bed, like packing. Yeah.
We were quite possibly overpacked, I think.
We were definitely overpacked. To go along with what you said, definitely determining what we needed to use frequently versus infrequently, and like how to organize based on that. Clothes would get strewn everywhere. Garbage would get confusing. We'd have 2 or 3 garbage bags at a time without realizing it, I think. They weren't ever very big, but we would like use a bread sack for one, and then a Target bag in the front, and then it was like, wait, don't we have one in the back of the truck too? And, but yeah, I guess that made it a little bit annoying to have to constantly reevaluate. It would be easier if we like lived on the road or in a van or had a trailer where things had a place, but they didn't. We were kind of just doing this as we went along. The best part for me was like the natural sleep cycle that I was on. And I normally can't fall asleep without some sort of white noise, but when you're in the woods, that's the best white noise. So
the views, just like the views and the smells of being out in like remote nature. Pillows, yeah.
All caps. Are you turning into a van lifer? Van lifer, if you don't know, is people who renovate or buy a converted van and live in it full time. I'd be lying if I didn't say this was like a test run for that. We are also obsessed with van life. The more we look into it though, the more I'm realizing we live in a city where we don't have family with their own land. we don't have a place where we can personally work on a project like that right now. We also have a truck which could haul around something to live in, and that I think is kind of where we have to lean more in the direction of, because I'm not ready to get rid of that truck, and I don't know if or when I will, and so I might as well just use what I already have and add on to that. And plus, I like having a detached car to do things with. I don't like the idea of like driving everywhere in your home. I think that's a little risky too. So if there's a place to store a trailer, we've low-key been looking at Airstreams. They're a little pricey. There's a lot of things for sale around Denver too. If you know anybody that has like a cheap trailer for sale, I would say that we are beginning to look at that. It's always been on the radar. It's just land in a tiny house is a lot. That could happen sooner than later, but I think a trailer is more our speed to start once this lease ends next spring. We did have some experiences living in Kyle's Astro van a couple years ago though.
We did.
We had a couple sleepovers in there. We're gonna talk about hygiene, but let's start with bathroom. The recommended method is cat holes. They're the most widely accepted form of doing your business in the woods. We're talking number 2. So dig a cat hole, be 200 feet from any water source or trails or your campsite. Pick an inconspicuous site where others are unlikely to stumble upon you. And technically, if you want your feces to decompose quicker with the organic soil matter and everything, you should pee somewhere separate, then you go number 2. That will slow down the decomposition time. Toilet paper. You do want to use toilet paper if that's your jam. You can. You can also use natural materials. We've used, if you go the right way, pine cones or pine needles. There's also a moss called old man's beard, which is hilarious, but it's found on a lot of trees in the Rockies up north, and you can just grab it off a tree, and it's the best. You can use leaves, you can use sticks. You just have to be creative and not scared. You can use natural materials and put those in the cat hole, or you can use toilet paper as long as it's a plain, not perfumed brand. You either want to pack that out, whether that's in a Ziploc baggie or some other means, I guess, or you can bury it in the cat hole, but use it sparingly. Stones or snow are also good options for natural wiping. The air is off, but it's getting kind of chilly for some reason. Yeah, things got cut off for us. The batteries have died a bunch, so we're just gonna try to wrap this up. By the way, we switched to kombucha, all the sugary beverages. Ooh.
Oops.
This is the Unity, the coconut cherry lemongrass.
For us, we kayaked and paddleboarded for the first times in our lives. We saw a grizzly.
We saw a grizzly, yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't see a moose. That's what I wanted to see, but I didn't. Yeah, we saw a fox. We saw mountain goats on the hiking trail with us.
That smooched a mountain goat. They were close.
They were so close. Bison. A lot of bison. We heard loons and cranes.
Oh, I never heard a crane before. That's a gorgeous sound.
Kyle found a frog on our tent.
Yes.
It got me way more grounded with myself. I really needed a boost. I think I was depressed before this. I kind of deferred and defaulted to Kyle to do everything around the house, cook meals and clean and help me do whatever, bring things in or whatever. And like, I just feel way more like I'm pulling my own weight again. It just got me up. I got up early every morning, and it made me feel like I used my whole day. I didn't wake up and just dread things like I did when I was in the apartment. It really just kept me occupied, but also kept me looking forward as opposed to dwelling on anything in the past. I'm more grounded within myself. Going to nature always is like going back to yourself, I think.
I got more motivated. It reset me in a way that I think it had been burned out for a long time. I've had a couple recent really horrible experiences with employers, frustrations with society in general, and like the pandemic hit and I was like, good, I don't want to see anybody. Like I was very like kind of cynical about it. Like I didn't want to go out. I was kind of done with people. Like I wasn't really excited to do anything before, and now I'm more excited to do my day-to-day life. I'm also more excited to explore our local area and use it properly because we live in Colorado and it's gorgeous and I want to make the most of that.
And as far as what's next, I think that's it, is Colorado, is everything we've been dying to explore. But yes, that wraps it up. That's the Q&A. Very long-winded. Thank you for sticking with us. We will be posting all of the vlogs from the Old West trip. So please keep your eyes peeled for those videos. Give them a view in the very near future. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when all of our little adventure vlogs are coming out from this. And we'll see you on the next adventure, whether that is on the road or in the kitchen. Bye. Comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high.
Okay. Good night, camera.
Good night. One for the books. Oh, okay. It's not a book. That was
time.
Can you stop interrupting me? We have 2 airplanes. They're very tiny. Also given to us by Stevie, the plant aunt. So my plant babies and those plant babies are now cousins. Right? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
No, they're adopted. It's fine. No,
Mine looks like a Harry. He is Harry.
You think I'm cute?
Yeah. Never mind. Okay, perfect. Was
Vertical Diner.
Shit. Let's say it again.
Do
Never
not
swim in the Great Salt Lake.
We have to say that again. I'll say never.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think I'm gonna leave this shit in?
I don't. That's just for you.
Thanks.
The pillow and a blanket.
He needed a pillow and blanket because he's the
I'm a side sleeper, so I need like something to keep the shoulders apart, something to swim in between. Like I have like a cuddle pillow in between the leg pillow, you know?
What about me?
You're in a different bag.
We can zip our bags together.
You didn't do that.
No, it's fine. I'm not hurt. I'm kidding. You're too sweaty for me.